Charlotte, North Carolina, home to Hendrick Motorsports, one of the most successful organizations in NASCAR history, with 320 driver victories, including 10 Daytona 500 championships and 15 driver championships. It might seem kind of odd that we're here talking about Division III Greensboro College and one of the most successful organizations in motorsports, but inside these doors here, there is a unique connection that ties those two worlds together, and that connection is Allen Stallings, one of the greatest linebackers, greatest football players in the history of Greensboro College, and now a championship crew member here at Hendrick Motorsports.
Yeah, I grew up on the Outer Banks, Manio, North Carolina. Growing up on a small island like that, I played 3 sports, football, basketball, and baseball. My mom was really big on whatever I could do to better myself and get me off the island to better my future, my family's future. That's what I had to do, and she instilled it into my brain really to always push to what nobody in my family has ever had. Greensboro College kind of came late about in my senior year. I had a couple friends that I played football with that were a little bit older than I was, that played football at GC, and they told me about an opportunity that I could come and help change the culture there. I'm not saying that I could do it alone, but I was a piece of the changing culture. Man, it was a culture shock, because at that point I'd never been to a city like Greensboro. I've never been to a city with skyscrapers. I never saw a building that was bigger than 10 stories tall. So when I got to Greensboro College, I fell in love with the city. I fell in love with the area. The campus was right downtown, so like you had views from different parts of campus. My freshman year, I went there to be a quarterback, and I walked into Neil Mitchell's, who was the head coach's office, and I walked on pretty much. He had never heard of me. He'd never scouted me. So I met the defensive coordinator, Coach Young, and he changed the way I thought about football like forever, but also he changed like the way that I approached my life in general. He, what I thought was good enough was nowhere near his standard for me in general. So as soon as I met him, I was like, I've got to play for that guy. So I switched over to a defense, played safety. Every offseason I'd gained, I feel like 10 to 15 pounds. So I ended up moving to linebacker, and that's where I just found my sweet spot. It was my senior year. We were playing Christopher Newport, and it was when I broke the all-time tackles. I made a tackle, and it just so happened to be like a big hit. The entire crowd went crazy, and then it said over the intercom that I had broken the record, and I'll never forget that moment of just like the amount of guys that came up to me that I played with for, that were seniors at that time as well. So I'll never forget that time of like, there was kind of like a pause in play in general. I try to work as much as possible. But I also like, coming from a Division III, there's a lot of pride and passion that you have to have playing at a D3 level, because you don't get a lot of the things that the D2 guys or D1 guys get. It was actually kind of wild. I had never watched a sport at all. I'd never been to a race. I don't know anything about cars. I don't know how to change my own oil still to this day, 13 years in the sport. So Coach Young got an email from a guy named Chris Berkey, who used to be the recruiting coordinator and head developmental coach here. They had heard about me. They had seen me in a couple of my All-Star games that I played after my senior year, and they reached out to Coach Young to recruit me. They asked me to come do they have a combine here. It's just a 2-day combine where they test your athleticism. So they kind of put you in situations to see how fast you can learn things, how fast you can pick up on things that are completely opposite of what you've been doing for your entire life. Like, you don't practice putting a tire on as a kid. You practice throwing baseball or throwing football or something like that, but you never practice how fast can I put this tire on. So it was definitely odd for me. At that point, I had some other opportunities football-wise, so it was really hard for me to understand or to comprehend giving up a dream that I've had for my entire life as from a kid to go to an industry that I knew nothing about. But I got here, and just the people here at Hendrick Motorsports, I don't know, it just seemed like home. Very similar to how I walked onto campus at Greensboro College. I just enjoyed the people. I enjoyed the energy that it brought. I think at the very beginning, it just taken an opportunity that comes out of nowhere, and it might not be the vision that you had for yourself, but also being open to something that might be a little bit different, but you could make a mark. You don't have to walk the same path as everybody else. So the path to Greensboro College was a little bit of an unbeaten path. so to speak. So the same thing here, like, when I was a senior at Greensboro after the season, and I got a phone call that, they wanted me to be a part of Hendrick Motorsports, that wasn't something that I had on my bucket list. I think the lesson for me is just always be open to opportunities that might slap you in the face that you don't even know is an opportunity. At the end of the day, the records and things are all cool. To me, it wasn't really about creating the records. That was only a thing that got my attention in the middle part of my senior year. But I think to me, it's just making your mark as a person, as a human being, as a teammate, as a leader, trying to grow yourself as much as possible in the dynamic that you're in. And I think that's exactly the mark that I want people to see. Like the guys that I played with now, like they will still hit me up and show love. Like that to me means more than a record. Them playing with the guy that betters them as a friend, a man, means way more to me than anything else. You have to sit back and realize like what makes you happy. And as long as you are in the field of something that makes you happy, there's opportunities that will always come along your way.